started with a knock on the door, not the friendly kind. This one came with a clipboard, a frown, and a list of complaints. That was the first time I met Karen. Not her real name, of course, but she fit the role with uncanny precision. She was the self-appointed gatekeeper of our homeowners association, a woman who wielded power like a weapon and enforced the HOA rules with religious devotion. Her issue? My front yard. No weeds, no garbage, no clutter, just empty space. Apparently, it was too empty. "This doesn't meet community aesthetic standards," she said, pursing her lips like she'd just sucked a lemon. I was stunned. I asked, "What exactly am I violating?" She flipped through her clipboard, then gestured vaguely at my grass. "It just doesn't look right," she insisted. From that moment on, it became clear. This wasn't about rules. It was about control. I tried reasoning. I even suggested I was planning to build a small flower bed, but Karen wouldn't budge. Days later, I got an official letter from the HOA. Project denied. Front yard landscaping proposal rejected due to non-compliance. I couldn't believe it. My own front yard, blocked by an HOA overlord with a vendetta, but instead of getting mad, I got clever. That's when the idea hit me. If I couldn't go forward, I'd go underground. They underestimated me. While Karen was busy patrolling for mailboxes an inch too tall, I was drawing up plans, not for revenge, but for resurrection. If my front yard wasn't acceptable, I'd create something so unexpected, so beautiful, no one could deny it. That's when the seed of the secret garden was planted. Literally and figuratively. I started with research. Underground greenhouses, privacy landscaping, hidden walkways. I was obsessed. Every evening, after work, I'd sketch out ideas, measure soil levels, study zoning laws. Turns out, nothing in the HOA bylaws said a word about backyard tunnels or vertical garden walls inside a privacy fence. I wasn't just thinking outside the box. I was building a new one. I hired a discreet crew. At night, we worked under dim lights, whispering like we were planning a heist. The noise? Masked by lawnmowers, leaf blowers, and the usual suburban buzz. Piece by piece, the garden began to take shape, hidden beneath layers of privacy hedges and sliding panels that blended with the fence. Every stone placed, every vine planted, it was all built with quiet defiance. Karen remained clueless. She still stopped by occasionally, squinting suspiciously at my yard, but there was nothing to see, at least not from the outside. I smiled every time she walked away, oblivious to the Eden blooming just out of sight. Then came the day I'd been waiting for. The final petal was in place. The hidden entryway, disguised as a tool shed, clicked open smoothly. Inside was a narrow stone path leading to something that looked like it belonged in a dream. Flowers of every color, bamboo arbors, a koi pond with a tiny bridge, benches carved from reclaimed wood. I had built more than just a garden. I had created peace, tranquility, a place that shut out the noise of Karen's clipboard and the HOA's absurd rules. I invited a few friends over. Their jaws dropped. "How did you even do this without the HOA noticing?" they asked. I just smiled. They were too busy controlling the front to see the beauty in the back. The secret garden became my refuge, a place to read, think, unwind. It was also a quiet rebellion, nature flourishing where bureaucracy once tried to choke it. Karen eventually caught wind of the rumors. People talking about my garden at neighborhood BBQs, wondering why she hadn't tried to shut it down. She showed up again, this time trying to peer over my fence. "You know, people are saying you've got something back there," she sneered. I simply looked at her and said, "Maybe you should start appreciating what you can't control." It wasn't long before I got another letter. This time, it wasn't a rejection, it was a demand for inspection. The HOA wanted to see what I was hiding, but I was ready. Legally, They had no grounds to inspect my private backyard without probable cause, and I had followed every technical rule in the book. No permits violated, no codes broken. Just clever creativity. When Karen and two board members showed up with stern faces and notepads, I opened the gate. Their expressions shifted from smug to stunned. One of them whispered, "This is actually beautiful." Karen, of course, tried to find fault. "This pond may attract mosquitoes," she said weakly. I countered with a small pump system already in place. Another board member said, "I don't see any violations here." For the first time, Karen had nothing to say. A few weeks later, I received a notice in the mail. Not a fine, not a warning, but a commendation for innovative landscaping design. They had flipped the script. My secret garden had become a neighborhood legend. Karen still walks by sometimes, her steps a little slower, her voice a little quieter. She never mentions the garden anymore, but I see it in her eyes. She knows she lost. Not just a battle of yards, but a war of wills. And I learned something powerful. When someone tries to control your space, you don't always have to fight head-on. Sometimes the best revenge is to grow something beautiful in silence, caught in the chaos of HOA drama. Subscribe to HOA Warzone, where homeowners fight back, and every story uncovers the truth they don't want you to hear.